Vax was with Andrew Wakefield, I think, in it, and we ended up having him on our Digital Freedom platform, after we went down the rabbit hole around April, May 2020, and we had, I think, Sherry Tenpenny, which was at your premiere as well, Judy Mikovits, which was there as well, and we went down the line, and my eyes opened up. And I remember my first conversation with Robert F. Kennedy, who is now running for president, go figure. And I remember I walked into that interview thinking I'm lining up first in line to get my vaccination. I was trained at MIT, and when you're trained as an engineer or a scientist, you almost fall in love with the science and you don't look at necessarily what's behind the science. And so you fall in love with the concept of a vaccine, which is a beautiful thing. But I still remember when RFK broke down everything behind it. And at the end of that episode, I was just questioning everything. And that's how it started. And it's been fascinating to watch his journey, because I knew early on that this was a guy that's extremely intelligent, extremely credible, extremely knowledgeable, extremely grounded as a human. And yet he was just vilified as the anti-vaxxer in the press, et cetera. And now to see him kind of coming around as he runs for president, he was just on the Joe Rogan Experience, and I was listening to it. And Joe opened up the episode and said, look, I was one of these people, and he probably was up until 2023, right? And he said, I just thought you guys were anti-vaxxers and you were crazy and you missed the point. And even I bought into the media narrative that I should be immune to, because I'm in the media business and I've been canceled and most of my guests have been canceled. And it was fascinating to hear Joe say, look, I even judged you. And I'm not done with the interview, but Joe seems pretty enraptured with JFK, which I think anybody is when you listen to him more than 30 minutes. And Joe is sitting there going, wow, I had no idea. Wow, I had no idea. Wow, I had no idea. I just assumed. And by the way, they just mentioned you being at a meeting with Fauci back in the day. And so it was nice to hear your name come up, just to remind people that you've been doing this for so long. So I don't know. It's just fascinating for me to watch how this has all evolved. And, Del, we were being called crazy. At least I know I was. I was new to the fight in 2020. But man, people, they just thought we were insane by asking these questions. And now 3 years later, there's so much evidence that so many people are opening their eyes. And I don't know, I guess that's a really positive thing, right?
It is, and from my perspective, and I think it's a fairly unique perspective. I do go back. I've been working with Robert Kennedy. We have brought lawsuits together, as he discussed on Joe Rogan's show. We have had some co-lawsuits against our regulatory agencies in the United States of America, particularly against Health and Human Services and the NIH. That's what my nonprofit has been. I would say we're the most successful nonprofit at bringing litigation against the government of the United States, at least when it comes to health issues, especially around the vaccines. We have won lawsuits against the FDA, the NIH, CDC, Health and Human Services, which is the only way you can really reveal the things that Robert Kennedy Jr. is talking about now publicly. All of this was hidden because of these liability protections that our government granted to the pharmaceutical industry back in 1986. Because of that, there's no way to get any sort of these revelations. No court cases are allowed. You cannot sue the manufacturer. It's, I think, really the only product like it in America. You can make a light comparison to some of the protections around the nuclear plants in this country, that they also, because they say that they can't provide perfect safety, therefore they need to be, exempt from liability. But that's how the vaccines have worked. So those lawsuits have been very important. But as I said, I started this back in 2016 with the documentary. In 2017, I started my nonprofit. And so, yes, I think what COVID provided is we were winning these lawsuits. It's why I started my show, The Highwire. I had this attorney, Aaron Siri, who is the best in the business. RFK brought him up on Joe's show. Also, he's strictly our attorney for the Informed Consent Action Network. He doesn't work with anyone else in this space. But those lawsuits were really bringing a lot of revelations, but we couldn't get any attention on any of the mainstream media sources saying, wait a minute, there's a huge cover-up going on here. We are revealing it through lawsuits with the government, but none of you guys will cover it. We realize and recognize that's because the televisions are being, mostly funded by the pharmaceutical industry itself. 60 to 70% of most advertising, which is who pays the salaries of all your news agencies and anchors, they're the boss. And so stories like ours were not being put out on the media. So we decided we have to develop our own media channel so that we can show the world what we're discovering through these lawsuits. And so that's what we did. When COVID came along, now you have to understand, we already knew how the game was played. We had won, dozens of lawsuits now in this space. We're starting to win lawsuits, in state legislatures and things like that.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just in overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.